Hey there, it's Patricia Young, life coach here in San Diego. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about some of the online groups that I'm running right now for highly sensitive people, HSPs. What I'm noticing is that there are some common themes that are coming up. And what I wanted to do was to share them with you, thinking, as HSPs, we're only 20% of the population. Often we feel like we're the only ones that experience things. And so the value of being in a group with other highly sensitive people is that we get to see that we're really not alone. So some of the themes that I noticed coming up in one of the groups were how often we pick up on other people's energy or moods, and that often what we're perceiving, the feelings that we're perceiving are very accurate and strong, but the meaning that we attach to it may not always be exactly what's intended. And I know when I've posted in some of the groups, there's been some debate about this, and I think people felt invalidated when I said sometimes the meaning that we attach is not always accurate to the story that we're making up in our head. And so this is kind of a long-winded example, but I have a thing about having the screen door locked, and my husband just forgets. And so he'll go to leave, and he'll go to open the door, and he gets frustrated because the door is locked, because if I'm not here, he doesn't lock the door. So the story that I made up in my head is that he's angry at me because I don't feel safe when I'm at home and it's a security screen door when it's not locked. So the story I made up in my head is he gets angry with me because I need the door locked, because he gets grumbly. So I'm picking up on something, and what I was picking up on was anger, frustration, but the meaning that I attached to it, I asked him, and he's like, no, I just forget that the door is locked. I said, you don't get mad because I want it locked? He's like, no, I just forget, and I get frustrated that I don't remember that it's locked. So oftentimes we perceive things, but the story that we attach to it, or the story we make up in our head, it's a Brene Brown thing, is not always accurate. So the importance of getting reality checks when we're perceiving something. So the other thing is the fear of being too much. This is certainly a wound that I struggle with. And I'm hearing it coming up on our groups of, I think as highly sensitive people, we have deep feelings and deep thoughts. As kids, we may have been raised by parents that just didn't get it. And so we get this sense that who we are is not okay and that we're too much. And as we go through life and we share with people and people don't understand because they're not HSPs, we get feedback that who we are is not okay. And there's really nothing wrong with us at all. And we're not too much. It's that the people that we hang out with may not have the capacity for the depth that we have. And so really working on that story about too muchness and changing it to we're perfectly okay as we are, and that we need to find people that can embrace that depth that we have. Because if we show up with a lot of depth and other people don't, people often look at us like deer in the headlights, and we feel like something's wrong with us. But people just don't know what to do with that if that's not how they process. Also, difficulty expressing feelings. So how do I share my feelings? How do I share my feelings when I'm having strong feelings? Can I talk about the parts of me that are having feelings, as opposed to coming at, you hurt me, you didn't listen? There's a part of me that feels hurt and not understood. So how do we communicate that? How do we just in general communicate our feelings? And I'm hearing a lot of highly sensitive people talking about how much anger they have that comes up, and that fear that they're going to explode, or on the outside they look very calm, but internally there's just this kind of raging inferno and this fear of all of this anger, and how do we mask it? I find kind of two things with the highly sensitive people that I work with. Sometimes for me, like, I have no poker face. You can totally read what's going on. And other times there's a lot going on internally, but I've kind of learned to mask it. And so I may be having anxiety or frustration going on internally, but on the outside, you don't really see much. So how do we integrate the two? How do we work with both of those things? And then the last two things are just feeling really overwhelmed with input. And in a group, sometimes it's a lot to have a lot of different information coming in at us. And knowing that as highly sensitive people, sometimes we just need a little bit more time to process. And what I love in this group is a couple people at the end, we do a little check-in. And a couple of the people said, like, I need time to process that. Like, I can't come up with something that quickly. So that's self-care, and it's boundaries, knowing what we need, how do we take care of ourselves, and those are really healthy, appropriate things that we do. So I hope you found this helpful. If the groups sound interesting to you, We will be starting them again in the fall. They're full right now, but I'm just going to drop in periodically and share with you the things that are coming up in the groups because they seem to be really valuable. I hope you had a great day. If you want to follow up, I have a podcast called Unapologetically Sensitive. You can go to my website at unapologeticallysensitive.com. Hope you have a great day. Remember, sensitivity is nothing to apologize for. It's our superpower. Have a blessed day.